Hey friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our half-acre homestead with Preserve It to Save It. And today we're doing potatoes. Wendy brought a 10-pound bag of potatoes with her, and they're going a little soft. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut them up, blanch them, and dehydrate them for soups and casseroles. We're going to preserve them to save them. And look at that smile. Okay, as you saw, Wendy was peeling potatoes. Now I'm going to start getting ready for the dehydrator, which means slicing and blanching. Now, I like a nice size slice. So if you can find a flat spot on your potato, great. If not, just take your first slice off the outside like that. You have a nice slice of potato, but now your potato lies flat and stable for you to cut evenly. Now, yes, I could pull out a slicer. And no, don't offer to send me a mandolin slicer. I don't like them. Lost a chunk of knuckle to one once and just decided never again. Now, these are going into a bowl of water with lemon juice. Folks, if you're going to be shredding these, shred them over water to catch the starch, because once you pour the water off really slowly, you can actually save the starch from the bottom. I just happen to have enough starch. I'm not going to worry about it. So, I'm going to take a very thin slice off there. Gives me a flat surface to stabilize my potato with. Now, folks, do your best to slice them all the same thickness. You don't want them too thin. I'm going to say about 1/8 of an inch at maximum, okay? Now, we're going to do some in slicing and some in dicing, because that just gives us more variety to work with for soups, stews, and casseroles. So we'll be back when I have the first half of these potatoes done into slices. Not right now. Okay, folks. I'm going to do the rest of these potatoes in diced, because I do more than just scallop potatoes, right? So I've got my chopper here. And I'm going to cut my potatoes into, like, you know, 1/2-inch slices. And that way they get cubed right down to the right size. Now I just want to show you that I'm reusing the water that I soaked these in. So as soon as this comes up to a boil, I'm going to be putting my potatoes in here, and then I'm going to save that water, and I'm going to use it to blanch these ones. Okay, I'm filming with my phone, folks, because my cards on my camera have died and my new camera doesn't work at all. So my water's coming up to a boil, so I'm just going to drop these in here, and I'm going to strain my bits. Okay, these have started to boil, and as soon as I can see them go translucent, I will transfer them into cold water and use this blanching water for my diced potatoes. Now, why am I recycling this? Because I'm going to use this for baking bread. Water with potato starch in it is awesome for making bread. If you can pick it up with a fork, without breaking it, that is fork tender. I'm just going to start spooning them into cold water. I don't want them to continue to cook. If they were going straight on the dehydrator, great, but you're still going to be touching things that came out of boiling water, right? So, into the cold water. This is going to make at least 2 instant scallop potatoes with my good amount of mushroom soup that I stocked up on. I'm not going to recan the mushroom soup because it's not a high acid thing, so it will last in the can longer than a tomato product. All right, move this aside. And in go our diced potatoes, and they go through the same process. Fork tender. These will now go back into this bowl because although they're still warm, they're cool enough to touch. And I'll get another, I'm going to put these over by the dehydrator, and I'm going to get another bowl for the mince. Okay, let's start dehydrating. Now folks, this is more for the newbies who've never done this before, but it's also for everybody who, you know, wants to make things stretch.
Okay, now if you don't have a dehydrator, but you still want to preserve your potatoes by drying them, maybe because you don't have a canner, a pressure canner. So what you can do is, you know the wire racks you have for cooling cakes on? All right? Put a cookie sheet, get a cookie sheet, and then put a cake rack on it so there's air circulation. Lay your potatoes out on that. If they're minced potatoes that are going to fall through, put a piece of parchment on there, okay? Turn your oven to its lowest setting. If you have a convection oven, 105 to 135 degrees, either with convection or with a regular oven, okay? You can dry them that way. You're just going to have to turn them and like rotate them and flip them and stuff.
And I'm going to start putting these diced potatoes on the jar. And I'm noticing a little bit of darkness, oxidization or whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Okay, I'm almost on the last tray here. And so I have 2 trays of diced potatoes. And 4 of sliced. The sliced take up a lot more room is all. And I will probably rotate these, but I'm going to put the lid on this, folks, and I'm going to dehydrate this at the fruit and vegetable setting of 135 degrees until these are crisp. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my strainer on here and very, very, very carefully, I'm going to try and strain this liquid into the jar for potato bread. That is, look at the, I want to show you folks, look at this water. Look very carefully. This will boost your yeast in your homemade bread. Don't let that stuff go to waste. Potato water for making bread this week. 1/2 quart of diced potatoes for soups and stews. 2/3 of a 1/2 gallon jar of potato slices. Now remember, we used probably 1/4 of the bag of potatoes before we went that far. This, another week, would have been almost too wrinkly to use. Yeah, don't look at my hair. This is the Miss Wolfie from our 1/2 acre homestead saying, if you've got food that's coming up on its date or it's getting soft, can it or dehydrate it to save it. You'll thank yourself later. Take care. God bless.